And we are live, guys. Welcome to another live episode. So today we're gonna be going live, and I'm gonna be sharing with you guys a few secrets. I'm gonna be talking to you guys about my secret book. If you've known me, I've read and I've probably spoken about this at some point in some video. But I've read hundreds of books. I think I'm trailing right now 300 and some books over the past 2.5 years. But I want to go ahead and share a few secrets. Okay, I want to go ahead and share a few secrets with you guys. And what I want to go ahead and share with you guys is there was a book here. There was a book, and I'm going to be giving you guys 5 books. So 5 books that have changed my life, and I believe will change your life as well. But not only am I going to be giving you 5 books that will change your life, here's what else I'm going to be sharing with you guys. The 5th book, the number 5 book, is a dark book. This book is so dark. It is so dark that this book is banned in prisons. Okay, this book is banned. This is a book. I mean, you can get it in public, but this book is banned. It's banned, I tell you, banned in prisons. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started into it. So first thing first, I want you guys to kind of take a listen to this. So most of what I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be pretty much sharing my screen for the most of this video. We're going to be just looking through stats, data, and numbers. Okay, so what I want you guys to do is this is an article from the Los Angeles Times. I ain't paying the money now. So this is an article talking about basically a recent statistics survey by the social network of Link Ago found that fear of failure, okay, plagued about 31% of 1,083 adults and a larger percentage than those who feared spiders. Well, or being home alone, or even anything extra, all the ooh stuff. So people are more scared of failure. Think about this. People are more scared. They have more of a fear of failure. They have more of a fear of failure than they do of anything else. Some people, there's actually articles and places where people will say that they would rather die than actually, go ahead and take action, or because they're afraid of rejection, they're afraid of fear, they're afraid of failure. So the first book I'm going to be sharing with you guys, the first book is going to cover how you can overcome that fear of failure. Because to think about how much it's been hindering your life, there's actions that you want to take, there's things that you want to do, but you can't do it because you're afraid you're going to fail, you're afraid you're not going to succeed, you're afraid that you're going to get negative reviews, you're afraid that you're afraid that it's not going to work. And this book I'm going to be sharing with you. But before I go ahead and share this book with you, is this we're going to go ahead and read the summary of the book. Okay, and I want you guys, we're going to go ahead and read the summary of the book. Let me go ahead and pull this up here. We're going to go ahead and read the summary of the book, and then I want to see if you guys know what the book I'm talking about, because this is what the book basically teaches you. This is the summary of the book. So let's go ahead and get that screen shared right there. Okay, so the book is basically, this is also the LA Times. It says nope, that's not the one. Right there. There you go. All right. Oh, there you go. Gave it away. So this is a summary of the book. The title of the book is called Go for No. Just think about it. Imagine if in which you're no longer plagued by fear of failure. You're no longer plagued by your inability to take action because you're afraid it's not going to work. Right. So this book is a book called Go for No by Richard Fenton and Andrew Waltz. So basically, it's a summary of the book. So it's a chronicle of 4 days, basically dictating the life of Eric Bolton, which is a sales guy who struggles with call reluctance, right? Most of you are like, well, I'm not in sales. I don't sell anything. I don't have anything to do with sales. Sales is not my profession. I'm not a salesperson. Okay, that's fine. What about if in which you're a single lonely person that's looking for a partner, but you're afraid to go out there and take action and talk to the opposite gender because you are afraid? Right? What about in which you're someone who's trying to go ahead and go ask for a raise, but you're afraid of going to go ask for a raise because you're afraid that when you go ask for a raise, they're going to tell you no. They're going to tell you to kick sand, pound rocks, and get out. Right? You're afraid in which you want to ask a spouse or partner to do something, but they're not going to do it because you are innately afraid to take action. And then guess what is you want to know what's the most richest place in the world? The most richest place in the world is the graveyard, the cemetery. Do you know why it is the richest place in the world? It's because it's filled with dreams that were never acted upon. It was filled with ideas that people never acted upon. It's filled with goals that were never pursued. It's filled with so much things, so much good things that people could have done, but they never took action because they were afraid. Now, what this book does is this book basically helps you overcome your fear of failure, your fear of rejection by understanding that the rejection and failure is the goal. Basically, some of the book is just it's detailing how this Eric Bolton basically how his perception. All he had to do was change his perception of looking at failure as something that is something to be avoided, as something that is necessary, to see everything as more of a science experiment. Because guess what? I'm going to tell you this. Maybe you go ask your boss for a raise and they tell you no. Maybe you go talk to that girl and you tell her, hey, I want to go out with you, and she tell you no. But guess what? That's probably going to happen. What about if in which you have control? Because if you already know something's going to happen, if you already know you're going to get rejected, if you already know you're going to get no, why don't you just make it as a goal? Because it's easy to accomplish it if you make it the goal that, hey, you know what, the goal is to go get, told no for this race. Because guess what happens is, if your goal is to go get told no, and you know you're going to go get told, you know that they're going to tell you no. But guess what, it's fun, it's a fun game. You're like, hey, I'm going to go ask for a raise. I know they're going to tell me no, but that's the goal. That's the goal. When I get the no, I'm going to reward myself. You go ahead and you will still go ahead and take action. Because what this does is it basically removes and takes away the fear of inaction. It takes away the fear of basically procrastination. It takes away the fear of you basically being basically sucked in and basically being tied in by the mental roadblocks that you've put in your mind, because you are so afraid of failing and you are so afraid of things not working. And that is the number one problem that people struggle with. And that is why I recommend the book. And once again, guys, this book is a book called Go for No. It's a book called Go for No. You can get it for free on Audible with a subscription. And I believe you can also get the same book as well for Kindle. I am not getting paid any affiliate commission for this. This is not something I'm getting paid for. This is something in which I'm recommending to you guys, because these are books that have changed my life. And I believe this is a book that would change your life too. And the number two book is a book that is for people who are struggling. Okay. It's a book for people who are struggling with procrastination. Okay. It's a book that for people who are struggling with procrastination. Think about it. You want to get in shape, right? You want to get in shape. You want to go ahead and start eating right. You want to go ahead and start working out. You want to go ahead and start exercising, but you for some reason can't get yourself to do it. You for some reason can't get yourself to take action. You for some reason can't get yourself to move. You for some reason can't get yourself to actually push forward. And the reality and the concept and the core thing is laziness. Laziness contributes to a huge reason why a lot of people are struggling. A lot of people are not accomplishing the goals that they want to accomplish. And I want to go ahead and we're going to go ahead and jump into the stats here. This is a statistic. This is a data. Basically, let me go ahead and share my screen here really quickly. All right, there we are. Okay, let's get this pulled up here. This is a blog from blog.gitnuts.com, laziness statistics. Let's refresh the screen here. Yeah, it looks like I happen to pick. I'm in a hotel right now. I'm using hotel Wi-Fi, so hence the internet is not the best, and the internet is actually, I'd say, pretty trash. So bear with me, guys. But this is it. Let's see. It looks like we have a winner. All right, perfect. Looks like that's working now. All right. So according to stats, so 85% of respondents admit to procrastinating at least occasionally. Most people procrastinate. Think about it. You're like, oh, I'm gonna do the dishes, but you don't. Oh, I'm gonna pick up the phone and call the lead, but you don't. Oh, I'm gonna get my wife a gift. Oh, you don't. Oh, I'm gonna go ahead and go ahead and shower, but you don't. So because of that, now how is that contributing to your life? It is a detriment, because the more you procrastinate, you will end up hindering the overall success of your life, because you are not taking action. And success most of the time is showing up. And if you're always procrastinating, then you are not taking action. 85% of people are procrastination at least occasionally, with 21% confessing that they do it probably always. And I'll say that number is higher than 21%. Okay. So 1 in 4 people feel that they're chronic procrastinators. They're lazy. They're lazy. 1 in 4 people are admitting to being lazy. Am I saying there's anything wrong with being lazy? No. But here's the thing is, you can be lazy as long as you give yourself, you do what you need to do. Take care of what you have to do first. Once you've taken care of it, then go ahead and lazy away. Go ahead and waste your time. That's what you want to do. But first, you need to accomplish little minute goals. Okay. So laziness is costing the US economy an estimate. I don't know how true this is, but an estimate of $50 billion annually in productivity. 50 billion. Billy. I'm gonna say it again. $50 billion. It's costing the US $50 billion annually in productivity, because people are being lazy. And if 73% of people believe being lazy is a major contributor to their workplace stress, then think about it. How is it affecting your life? How is it affected? Because you being lazy is the reason why you're not hitting the gym. You being lazy is the reason why you're not setting the schedule. You being lazy is the reason why you're not going out there and doing what you have to do, because you know that's what you have to do, but for some reason you are not doing it. You're not doing it. And if you're not doing it, whose fault is that? Whose fault is that you're not doing it? That's the fact that, and then the truth that you have to ask yourself: whose fault is it that you are not taking action? Whose fault is it that you're not doing what you need to do? I need you to ask yourself that question: whose fault is it? You need to take personal responsibility. You need to take ownership and say, okay, you know what? I am actually being lazy, because if we continue down the road here, we continue down with the study here, with the statistics here, it just basically dives deeper and kind of explains. You can go ahead and check this out, the study, because around 30% of US adults are completely or mostly, sedentary, or basically not doing anything during their leisure time. 30% of people, just think about that. If 3 out of 10 people are not doing anything during their leisure time, because like, it's my leisure time, I'm just gonna stay and sleep and wallow away. And 27% of Americans admit that they don't exercise during their free time. 27% of people don't exercise during their free time. And if you look at it, 14 to 39% of people who overindulge in screen time are more likely to report greater inactivity during the day. You're caught up in your phone. Your phone is being something that is taking away your time. Your time, which your time is probably the most valuable asset that you have, because it is something that you will never get back. And how can we fix this? This is where the second book comes in. The second book that I will recommend to you guys is a book called Atomic Habits. Atomic Habits is a book by James Clear, and basically this is a quick summary of the book. Let's see here. So, quick summary of the book. Looks like we have a very interesting internet connection here. Let's make sure the feed is kind of coming in here. All right. All right, looks like it's going well. Okay, so Atomic Habits by James Clear is a comprehensive practical guide on how to change your habits and get 1% better every day using a framework called the 4 laws of behavioral change. So let's see. So basically, it summarized, lesson 1: small habits make a big difference, right? Most people like, I got to go to the gym and work for 2 hours or 3, 4 hours. You don't have to do that. You don't have to be working at the gym for 2, 3, 4 hours. You don't have to do that. You don't have to be, overly going crazy and no, you just got to show up. The book Atomic Habits, you can go right now, go on Audible, you can go on Kindle, and you can get yourself a free copy. You can go on Amazon and download and buy a free copy. This book or buy a copy that's not free, but focus up about setting minute goals. I want you guys to see, because think about it in a perspective of in your life as an individual, as a person. Think about it from a perspective of in your life. Go ahead and get the screen good. In your life, as an individual, as a person, how can the little minute goals, the little things, just doing the little things.
Would you rather have $1 million right now, or a penny that doubles every day for 30 days?
$1 million now.
$1 million now.
I'd just see £1 million today.
Penny, wait, so you see each day when it goes from 1p to 2p, it goes 2p to 4p, 4p to 8p. Yeah, penny for 30 days.
Penny, I've seen it. You make way more money.
Penny, it's a penny.
Penny's more fun. Penny's more exciting. You would have over $5 million if you chose the pennies.
Second option is a lot more, but tomorrow is not guaranteed.
Wow, that's an interesting response. But you do realise if you picked the penny that doubles every day and just waited 30 days, you'd have 5.3 million.
30 days is a long time. I live a crazy life.
Would you rather have $1 million right now?
I mean, and there's always going to be that one guy, and it's a good thing that he said that, because he's like, I live a crazy life. Now, let's even kind of look at it from a full circle perspective of in a perspective of everyone always sees things as, oh, you know what, I'm going to do this grandiose, I got to go big. But if you say, I'm just going to show up and do the, just minute things, little by little, day in and day out, I'm just going to show up and do the minute things. And then based off of that,
how much money would you have
and I want you guys to watch
if you started with 1 penny and then doubled your money every day for 30 days?
See how it's going crazy? Now look at that. So day 5, 16 cents. Day 6, 32 cents. Day 7, 64 cents. Just the basics. Just showing up, doing the basics. Just showing up. If you're like, hey, I'm going to do 5 minutes. I'm going to show up and do 2 minutes. I'm going to show up and do 3 minutes. I'm going to show up and do 4 minutes. But you constantly, and you keep showing up. That's the name of the game, is constantly showing up. That's the name of the game. So this is day 21. So we're 10,000. Because we're comparing a penny every day over 30 days as opposed to getting $5 million cash up front, right? 0.3 million, day 29, 2.6. Boom, look at the double.
How much money would you have
5.2 million at the end, almost 5.2, 5.3 million at the end of it, all because of your efforts. Is as you consistently show up, as you consistently stack up skill sets, you get progressively better. And as you get progressively better, you have the ability, as you get progressively better, to not only, stack up those skill sets, but the skill sets compound, that when it is needed, you can actually get more output, more input. It gets progressively much, 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 much better. That's the benefit of actually your habits. Is I want you guys to read the book, because for me, the book is like, one of the things I do is I work out every morning for an hour and a half, 19-minute workouts on a daily basis. 90 minutes. How does that help me? One, it allowed me over the past 3.5 years. People are like, dude, you look like you go work out professionally. No, I don't. I just show up and work out in my room every day. Right. But the fact that I've done it consistently over the past 3 years, I have compounded efforts. And now when I go hit the gym, which I've actually, I'll go to the gym, I'm benching 225, 250. And I'm like, whoa, dude, I haven't benched anything in a very, very long time. So these are little things in which compound. These, you strengthen a muscle, you build a muscle with each time that you show up, with each time that you consistently keep doing the thing. You consistently keep doing the thing. That's the thing, is you just got to keep consistently doing the thing. And most people don't show up. And because most people don't show up, if you look at it, I want you guys to see this data. Most people don't show up. And when most people don't show up, they suffer the consequences of it. They suffer the consequences because they live a mediocre life, and that's not the life in which the God designed for them to live. That's not a life in which that they genuinely want to live, but they end up living this life, and that's not their ideal life. Look at this study, this statistic here. This is a data. We're going to cover the data on the loneliness statistics. Okay, we're going to cover the loneliness statistics. So this is basically, which is because we cover this. The first book is Go for No, which will help you with overcoming your fear of failure. Second book is Atomic Habits, which will help you overcome your procrastination and laziness if you're struggling from it. The third book, and then let's go and dive into what the third book is going to do, because the third book here is, I want you to look at this statistic here. So there's self-reported loneliness among adults. And this is segmented by people who reported being lonely based off of country. And you have Greece at this is basically 2005 data. This is old data. Okay. But if you look at it in 2018, the US is sitting at 30% of people reporting being lonely. Think about it. 30% of people reported being lonely. And then if you look at this as happiness and friends, people who say, happiness for those who rarely spend time with friends, notice this, the green versus the blue. People report higher sense of happiness when they're spending time with others than they were when they're spending time by themselves. Because in reality, we are human beings. And as human beings, we are basically we're social creatures. We're creatures that rely a lot on our social skill sets. We're creatures that basically have a lot. We need each other. Okay. And if we look at more data and we dive a little deeper here, and as we're diving a little deeper, this is going to be a shorter live stream, guys. But as we dive a little deeper here, you have 52% of Americans report feeling lonely, while 47% reporting relationships with others are not meaningful. So 57% are reporting being lonely of some sort. Okay. You have the loneliness epidemic that's been declared by the CDC. I believe it was the CDC that declared it, because obviously we were told to all social distance, right? You have 59% of people saying, they have a best friend, and 12% they feel they have no close friends at all. You have all this data. You have all this data of people basically. You have even the loneliness at age of 80% of people under the age of 18 are lonely sometimes, versus 40% of those over 65. The reason being because as you get older, you make more friends. But that's the thing, is most people are so self-conscious and so self-obsessed that they don't know how to make friends. And you can go ahead and check out this data by going to rootsofloneliness.com. You can go ahead and check out the data by going to rootsofloneliness.com. But how do we combat this? How do we combat this? Is basically buy a book. And this is a very, very important book that I recommend that anyone and everyone who is basically interested in basically learning how to overcome and get better social skills, go read. If you don't want to be a lonely individual for the rest of your life, I recommend you go read this book. And this book called How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. This is Dale Carnegie's book, is How to Win Friends and Influence People. If you're struggling in sales, this is a book you're going to want to read. This is the book to read if you want to get more French, if you want to go ahead and become, a better social communicator. Okay. And if we look in here, it says, the best summary of how to influence people. Basically, this is a summary of it. It basically tells you techniques in handling people. What do you do in social interactions when you interact with someone? Do you start criticizing them? Do you start condemning them? Do you start complaining about them? How to give basically honest honest, and sincere appreciation to people, right? How to honestly appreciate people. This is what you learn when you read this book. It tells you 6 ways to make people like you. For those of you who really want people to like you, it tells you the 6 ways you can get people to like you. Now, I'm not someone who's overly crazy and obsessed with, let's get this here, overly crazy and obsessed with getting people to like me, or with getting, or, but this book might be ideal or suitable for somebody. This book might be ideal for you. Let's just go ahead and plug this in, guys. 1 second. This book might be ideal for you if you're somebody who's like, hey, you know what? I need more people to like me. I need more people to, I need to make more friends. It's going to tell you how to win people to your way of thinking. How to win people to your way of thinking. You learn how to become a better leader, because to become a better leader, you have to become a better communicator. Okay. And now, this is the book that I recommend that you guys read. And this is the third book that I believe will change your life. Okay. Now, the fourth book, which is basically transitioning in people here, are how would you like to get people to do what you want them to do? Because a lot of people are reporting statistics and data of in the census too. This is the fourth book we're going to cover here. The third book is talking about how to basically overcome that loneliness and get more people around you, get more friends around you. Now, this book, to summarize this book, I want to kind of show you guys a point, show you guys a data, show you guys a little bit of data, show you guys a little bit of stats here. And this is going to be speaking to my salespeople. Okay. So the average sales turnover rate has been reported as high as 35%. Okay, it's been reported as high as 35%. By comparison, the average turnover rate for all professionals is about 13%. So this is 3 times. What that means is salespeople quit their jobs 3 times faster than people in regular jobs. Reason being, there's numerous things as to, you have to get outside your comfort zone. You got to go prospect. You got to go talk to ABC customer. You got to go out there, knock on door. You got to deal with rejection. There's so many things that you deal with in sales. And that's why I recommend almost everyone get in sales, because sales is a profession that is basically focused a lot on self-improvement. It makes you become a better person. It allows you to become a better individual, because you're constantly having to push yourself a little bit more, to talk to people and get outside your comfort zone. Now, the reason why most people struggle to sell is because they don't have the ability to influence people. They don't have the ability to get people to do what they want to do, because you're not doing it for the sake of manipulating people. That's not a goal, but you're doing it for the sake of, basically, if you're doing it and hey, this is in this person's best interest, this is me doing it because I believe genuinely and strongly that this will help someone, then yes, you have the conviction for it. Then that is something that you need to do. That is something in which that you need to, what is, for lack of a better word, is you owe it to that individual. You owe it to the person to go.
The most powerful ability in the world to influence other people is the ability to tell stories. It literally changes people's brain waves when they're listening to a story, and they become more suggestible. So your ability to both tell a story and break beliefs and communicate morals and lessons while you tell a story, you can use it to sell, you can use it to educate, to teach, to reshape someone's beliefs. You can change someone's character. You can give skills. Like, there's endless ways, and it's the most effective way to communicate to other people that there is.
Now,
The most powerful ability in the world.
that is the most, and I do agree with him there. That is probably, I would say, one of the most powerful abilities out there, is the ability to communicate through stories. Because think about it, like I'm talking right now, and I start telling you a story of what happened at this point in my life. It starts to evoke stories, evoke emotions from people, right? And most salespeople lack emotions. Most people are not able to influence because they're too logical. To get people to act, you need to understand that emotion is energy. For people to move, they need to feel emotional. When they feel emotional about a specific topic, when they feel emotional about a specific subject, then they can go ahead and take action. But then as they take action, they need the logic to go ahead and back up the action that you're taking. Okay. Now, I don't know if you understand what I'm saying, but that is basically, like, I'd say the full end summary of it is taking action, is understanding the emotional side of things, the emotional aspect of things, and using stories, and knowing that the fact that stories play a very, 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 very key role in getting people to move and getting people to take action, right? And now you're probably thinking, well, I don't need that skill. That's not a skill set that I need. That's not something that's going to benefit me. Well, here's the thing: is Robert Cialdini here talks about the reason why
the ability to influence people.
you need the
This could
ability to
be
influence
with
people.
your children, it could be with your spouse, it could be with your colleagues or your boss. You want the ability to persuade them to be able to move them to some degree in your direction, to get them interested in your ideas. You have to be aware is that you're usually going at it from the wrong end. You're thinking first and foremost about yourself. So you've got to reverse the whole game. You need to be focusing first and foremost on them. Your first bit of research is who they are, what's in their mindset, what is their interest, what are they looking for. And once you start that game, then you're going to change everything. You're going to alter your pitch so that it's the same ideas, but it's appealing to them and their interest in what they need, not what you need. And they'll feel it, and it'll have a much greater effect on them. This applies to everything you do in life.
Oh,
You want the ability
but this is not actually. We're not going to be talking about his book. We're actually going to be talking about another book, and the book that I want to because the reason why you need to learn to influence people is because to influence or get someone to do something, you need to actually focus on the person, right? Because the reality is most people don't ever get asked or genuinely have someone who's curious about, hey, how are you doing? Most people don't genuinely like actually showed like genuine interest. I was listening to a conversation, which is so fascinating. Was I was listening to a conversation, and in this conversation was there were two people talking, right? But what was interesting was both of them were talking, but they were all talking about themselves. Both of them were talking, but they were all talking about themselves. They were all talking about, I did this and this and this, and then the other person's like, I did this and this and this. It's almost like they're waiting to speak. They're waiting to respond. They're waiting to give their own point of view. They're waiting to talk about this. They're waiting. It's almost like they just go. This is absolute insanity that's going on. And here is the ridiculousness. I would say the word ridiculousness because it is actually ridiculous. Because I looked at them, I was like, you guys are like a bunch of kids talking about, this. No one asked a question like, hey, so no one ever asked in depth to get more information about the other person's point of view on your story. It's always like, hey, listen to me, listen to me, listen to me. And that's where the next book, and I glanced at it in the screen, the next book, Influence by Robert Cialdini. It's basically, and there's another book that follows that, which is Persuasion by Robert Cialdini as well. Check that book out as well. Was this book is basically detailing and it's going into how to basically the six main principles explored in this book is basically helping and showing you how you can go ahead and influence people better, get the best of interactions with people. One, having reciprocity. Imagine this. Imagine when you go to um a restaurant or like you in a mall and then they're like, hey, do you want a sample? You want a sample of this? And then you get a sample of whatever it is, you try it out. What are the odds of you going in? There's a higher likelihood and a higher odds of you actually going in and actually using or eating at that restaurant than you actually will if you were not given that sample. I know it works for me. I know it works for me. When I'm traveling and then they're like, oh, I'm in a mall and they're like, hey, they give me something. When I walk into a store and they give me something, it's almost like I feel this obligation, almost like to like listen to them and to almost talk to them. Gift giving, is it creates an element and it creates a sense of a reciprocity, commitment and consistency. Because people, you have to evoke in them that, hey, are you someone who's always committed? Yeah, I am. Okay, good. So which means since you're committed, then that means that you won't, for the next year or 2 years or 3 months, whatever it is, as the time of the contract, you have to be committed for who? For my family, for this. It's you have to evoke in people reciprocity. It's evoking. You have to evoke the emotions in people. You're evoking the emotion of like of social proof. You're evoking the emotion of like it has to come from within. You can't make them feel it. It has to come from within. It has to come from inside of them. It has to be something in which they genuinely are something that they're feeling, and it's not something that you are making them or forcing them to feel. And that is another important thing in it as well when you're talking about the book there. And invoke authority and invoke the fact that, hey, you're going to get people to like you, right? And you also have to be a likable person. And then scarcity is also another thing. I'm going to go a deep dive into these books on a later day, but today, like I said, I just wanted to cover these books because I believe these are books that genuinely will change your life. And now for the moment you've all been waiting for, the last book. This is a crazy book because this book has been banned. Banned. When I mean banned, this book has been banned. All right. This book has been banned in prisons, and I want you guys to take a listen to this. Take a listen to this because this is gonna blow your mind away because that's how crazy and influential that this book actually plays a role in people's lives. And this is how much in which this book gives you power, not only over yourself, but over your common
One
man.
of my favorite books was actually banned in prison. It's The 48 Laws of Power by the big homie, Robert Greene. I met him a few times. I got interviews with me and him on my YouTube page. And it was banned in prison because allegedly it has brutal manipulation tactics or instructions. The reason it's one of my favorite books, not because I want to manipulate people. I just want to know how not to get manipulated. There's also things in here that I feel anyone can use. Like, for example, law number 10, avoid unhappy and unlucky people.
We're gonna take a look at the laws. We're gonna take a look at the laws here, but it's the book has had so many reps. The books, we've had people talk about it. The book has been, take a look at this. There's another video here talking about how the book has been basically, the book was deemed controversial. You had a lot of people who were like, this book, this is not a book that you should be reading. You had all sorts of negative press around this one book. This one book had this much negative press around it, and I want you guys to listen to this commentary here by, he's a guy that.
Ooh, the GOAT, Robert Greene, 48 Laws of Power. Some people think this book is immoral or controversial or whatever. To me, summarizing the 48 Laws in one sentence is know how power works so you can use it to do good and defend yourself from people who want to do bad. It's a critical book. You got to know it. And what I would add on top of this, if you think this book is not for you, if you are repulsed by it, if you're wary of it, you are precisely the person who needs to read it, because you probably have a slightly naive or idealistic worldview that is setting you up to be exploited by other people. Ooh, the GOAT, Robert Greene, 48 Laws.
Give you power to understand when you have people, using, tricks and techniques on you. This is a book that I recommend that you read. The 40 Laws of Power is a book that I believe consistently will actually change your life just by you reading it. And what we're going to do right now is let's go ahead and look at a little bit of a summary of a few laws, because the laws play. I have some internet issues here again, but it's a short stream, guys. But these are the laws, and we have the 48 laws here. So we have basically the first law, okay? And the first law, we have never outshine the master. Okay. How many times have you been in a situation where you started doing good, you started doing great, you started doing amazing, you were like the best producer, and then all of a sudden from the top, they were like, oh, we gotta let you go. Why? Because you are now starting to outshine the master. Because the thing is, people do not like to feel less than, especially when they're in a leadership position. They don't like to feel less than. And what you do is now you're basically making them feel less than by basically outshining the master. Number 2, never put too much trust in friends. Learn how to use enemies. The thing is, many people will realize when you put too much trust in friends, you end up with the D word, the disappointment. You end up getting disappointed because guess what? You're trusting in other people to fulfill your vision of reality when it is your vision of reality, right? I don't put in too much on people because then again, I understand that people have their own self-interest, and it is very selfish of me to expect other people to put me first when then again they have their own lives for them, right? So I don't put too much trust in friends, and learn how to use enemies, because guess what? At the end of the day, you all have a mutual self-interest. How do you all help each other in some way, shape, or form? The third one is conceal your intentions. Most people are always like, oh my God, I'm going to do this. Oh my God, I'm going to do this. Oh my God, I'm going to do this. Oh my God, I'm going to do that. Stop telling people too much. You don't know that person that you think is a friend is actually an enemy, just basically waiting to show you the true colors. Stop being overly telling your intentions. Learn to be quiet. Law 4, always say less than necessary. These are a few laws. Go read the book. I highly recommend that you go read the book, The 48 Laws of Power. And I believe that this book has the power single-handedly to change the way you view your life, to change a lot of aspects in life. And let's recap a little bit. Number 1, we understood the first book was basically how to overcome your fear of failure. A lot of people struggle with the fear of failure. The first book talks about how to overcome your fear of failure. The second book talks about how to basically, let's go ahead and recap this here. Second book talks about how to basically, if you're suffering laziness or procrastination, check out the book Atomic Habits for the second book. The third book, most of people are lonely. You struggle with being social. You struggle with going out there and making friends. The third book is how to win friends and influence people. The fourth book, which is, understanding the fact that you have to be able to get people to do what you want at some point in time. Because what's the point? Even if your kids, you tell your kids, hey, eat your vegetables, and they're like, no. You don't even have control and the ability to influence your kids. That's a problem. Okay, so number 4 is check out the book Influence by Robert Cialdini, Persuasion as well. That's another book I recommend. And then the 5th one, which is most people say it's dark, most people say it's manipulative, but you definitely got to check out the book 40 Laws of Power, so you know that you don't get manipulated by people, and you know when someone is manipulating you. These are secrets and these are hacks that will help you. These are books that will help you change your life. And if you tell me, oh my God, I'm not a book reader, then guess what? You are being left behind, and you are basically leaving yourself susceptible for other people to take advantage of you. And I don't want you to be in that situation. I want you to take action. I want you to be a better person. I want you to be an influential person. And I want you to be somebody who becomes someone in the future. That's pretty much what I have for you guys for today. Short live. Like I said, terrible internet, but we got this done. And I'll see you guys on a future broadcast. And thanks again for everyone being here with me. And I say, as always, enjoy.